All right, so moving on to the next section of the underwriting module. To this point, we've identified the minimum of 3 comps for the subject property. So now let's discuss how to develop the project scope of work. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the pictures of the comps. This is going to help you better understand the preferences of buyers in that specific neighborhood. And what you're going to do is you're going to start off by evaluating their cosmetic finishes on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being recently or newly renovated, very much up to date, 3 being the old, ugly, more classic style. So in terms of its cosmetics, the cosmetics here are going to be broken down into the interior and the exterior. For the interior, you're going to be looking at the comps. You're going to be looking at their paint. You're going to look at the level of finish for the floors. Are they hardwood? Are they LVP? And further, how up to date are they? How up to date are the comps kitchen? And how up to date are the comps bathroom? So you're just going to make mental notes at this point. You say, okay, so of my 3 comps, 2 of them are newly renovated. 1 of them a little bit older but looks in shape. These are notes you're going to make mentally, which will then be applied directly into the spreadsheet to output your scope of work and also your rehab costs. So there at the bottom, then you get into the exterior. You want to look at the comps, the siding or the paint of the exterior of your comps, kind of grade that on a 1 to 3 level. And then also the curb appeal and the landscape. You're going to get a sense of what level of a landscape are my comps offering. Again, this is going to better help you understand what you need to do to sell your property, as this practice will show you the preferences that the buyers have in that specific neighborhood. So then finally, the subject property. You'll then look at the subject property, and you're going to check off all the cosmetic items that need to be upgraded per what the comps show. So again, if out of the 3 comps, if 2 of them look like brand new siding, 1 of them is it's maybe paint, but it looks still good. Maybe for the bathrooms are not all up to date. They may have new vanities. Doesn't look like there's any tile work in the bathroom. These are all notes that you're going to make into the spreadsheet. So again, you're going to know exactly what you have to do for the project. Once you do the cosmetics, you're going to identify the must-do items. Must-do repairs, these are essential repairs that address the safety, code compliance, and functionality of the home. These include fixing structural damages, electrical or plumbing issues, HVAC, and roof repairs. These are going to be more of your mechanical needs for safety and functionality. Now, sometimes properties offer something called property disclosures, which are documents that are provided by the seller that informs a potential buyer about known issues, defects, and the ages of the systems of the property. More specifically, this will include structural issues. The disclosure will say if there's any known problems with the foundation, age of the roof, any issues with leakage from the roof, and any other major structural components. The disclosures will also make note of any water damage at the property, any leaks, flooding, or water damage that's happened in the past. It'll also make note of pest infestations, including issues related to termites, rodents, and other pests. Also, any electrical, plumbing, or HVAC problems, any environmental hazards. So if there's asbestos anywhere in the property, lead-based paint, things that are more hazardous to the environment. And then also zoning and boundary disputes, issues with neighbors or local government over property lines or use. This will be, things you'll see are potential easements, which is essentially where, while the town is considering you owning this plot of land, maybe the prior seller had an easement with the neighbor, so the neighbor now owns a portion of it. All information like that will be disclosed in the disclosures. Something to keep in mind in terms of the disclosures, especially for as-is homes, you'll see that quite a few times the sellers will list unknown for the ages. assume the worst there. When I mean assume the worst, if they're saying that the roof age is unknown, assume that it needs to be replaced. Because if it were recently replaced, they would absolutely mention that in the disclosures, that the roof or heating system, for example, was recently replaced. So now I have an example here of one of the pages on the disclosures. And if you can take your attention to number 37. So basement water seepage dampness. If yes, explain frequency and location. They've listed unknown here. So this is something that I would probably be ready to see some sort of seepage or dampage in the basement. The solutions for things like this can be very simple, even though it sounds kind of daunting. It could be as simple as, the gutters end at the base foundation of the home. So anytime water is collected and disposed of, it's disposed of right next to the foundation and therefore seeps into it. And the solution there is getting, a connector that takes the gutter waters and kind of veers it out further away from the foundation. So it's not as daunting as you may think there. If you also take your attention down to number 42, roof type, asphalt shingles, age unknown. Again, here, if I were underwriting this, I would underwrite a new roof. All right, so other must-dos. Now, so there are scenarios that the property will not have a disclosure available. So what do you do? If a property doesn't have a disclosure available, more times than not all the time, but there's a great frequency of chance that the major ticket items had not been addressed. If you spend a shit ton of money to upgrade your heating system and your roof and you're selling your home, this is the way you're going to market your property. So if I'm not providing that information, there's a reason for it. There's generally, most of the major ticket items would have to be addressed. But you can also estimate the condition of the major ticket items, specifically here, like the roof and the heating system, via its pictures. The roof, in the next slide, I'll kind of show you an example, but from an exterior picture, you can kind of see if the roof is a 3-tab or an architectural. Architectural roofs are newer than 3-tab roofs. 3-tab roofs are older and generally do need to be replaced as they're at the latter portion of their life expectancy. Also in the pictures, if the roof has any major discolorations, things like that, that could be, the discoloration may be liquid seeping into the shingle there, and that may be another indicator for you. In terms of the heating system, and I'll show you on the next slide, but does it look outdated and rusty? So one thing to keep in mind, guys, that you're not contractors, you are investors. You don't need to know all the ins and outs of all the heating systems. Rather, all you're looking to do is to estimate what the costs could potentially be, understanding that you're still going to have a contractor formally walk the property and give you more of an exact quote before any of your earnest money deposit goes hard. So again, this is rather, you're just giving an estimate to what potentially the costs would or could look like. Now over here, as mentioned, top left, you have a 3-tab roof versus an architectural roof. So you'll see the 3-tab is going to be an older style of shingle than the architectural. And in the bottom right, you see this is a furnace. And the one on the left versus the one on the right, the one on the left is an old furnace, the one on the right is a newer furnace. So by looking at the pictures, you can also kind of decipher if the system needs to be upgraded or not. Other key areas of work, windows and doors. For your windows, again, there are ways via the pictures to see if you need to upgrade these windows. Single hung versus double hung windows. Single hung windows are generally older than double hung windows. Also, the trim around the window, is it wood or is it vinyl? Wood trim is older than vinyl. So these are two ways that you can kind of figure out if you're going to have to replace the windows. Now, interior doors, the interior doors are a little harder. It essentially comes down to are they solid or are they hollow? Depending on the scope of work and the work you're doing, you may have to replace the doors. However, the doors, it's going to be something that would be kind of difficult to underwrite. You can look at its pictures, and if the doors look old, that's a good indicator. Just looking at it, knowing what a door is supposed to look like, especially on a renovated home, you go ahead and do it that way. But again, this will be more clearly addressed once you have a contractor walk the property. And then exterior doors. Does it look in good shape or bad shape? Generally, there's only 2 to 3 exterior doors, so it's not absolutely critical to know this ahead of time. And then finally, septic and well. So whenever a property has septic sewage or well water, we recommend having these systems just inspected. It's tough to underwrite a cost because we don't really know there's generally no pictures or information available about this, but it's good to get it inspected. And that'll help any sort of hidden costs that come down the line. If you realize after you purchase the home, you didn't get it inspected, that you need a new, septic tank, it's pretty expensive. All right. So, in terms of priority, of your scope of work, focus on improvements that offer the highest return on investment. Kitchens, bathroom, flooring, paint, curb appeal typically have the most significant impact on resale value. Key areas to focus on: kitchen and bathrooms have a high ROI. Flooring and paint, they're cosmetic but very impactful. Curb appeal, so that's landscaping, exterior paint, siding, front door. Mechanical systems ensure the functionality and safety. Again, mechanical systems are the electrical, plumbing, HVAC, the aspects of the home that are necessary to live in. And then the structural integrity, its foundation, roof, and framing. What you'll do is you'll plug, once you have now, we started with, you jotted the cosmetics, then you jotted the must-dos of the property. Once you have that, the must-dos and also the other areas of work, the windows, doors, etc., you're going to plug this directly into the spreadsheet. We're going to give you a full over-the-shoulder underwrite example, but meanwhile, I can at least show you what the spreadsheet looks like here. So basically, you'll see when you're going through the spreadsheet, it's very simple. You'll mark down from starting with the demo, kitchen upgrade, full bath, half bath, interior paint, interior doors. So if your comps all have newly renovated bathrooms and your bathroom looks like shit, you would go into full bathroom renovation and you would select that. You'd put a 1 there, which we'll get into that later. But let's say, for example, that your half bath, it's in pretty good shape. The comps half baths are all in decent shape. You're not too far from it. Maybe you just need to upgrade a vanity and the lighting fixtures. You can also choose the partial renovation portion where you can give a percent. So you would say, I want to do, if 100% is doing a full renovation, I only need to do a 25, 30, 40% renovation in that specific area. You can mark that down there and it'll output a cost. You then move over to the right, you have exterior. So you're going to mark down if you got to do new siding, if you have to replace the roof, exterior doors, your windows. You're going to go through and very quickly just select the options that are required, and it's going to output your price. And again, couple of things to keep in mind. You don't need to be perfect when estimating rehab cost. As mentioned before, the project, you'll have a contractor walk the project and give you their price opinion before you commit to the project. So you don't have to be perfect at this. And again, in our next module, we'll do a full over-the-shoulder underwrite, including identifying the comps, but also identifying your scope of work and what your rehab costs will be. So we'll get to that module here next.